There aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be.
Hey, welcome everybody. We are live for another episode today, and we are also extremely late, and that is because I overslept. I never sleep past noon usually. When I work the night before, I'm usually like 9 to 12, somewhere around there, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and I get up, start my day, and get this podcast going by 1. But it is now 2:33 Eastern Standard Time, and that's because I slept till 1:50 today. I just never happens. The dog wakes me up. Somebody calls my cell phone. I didn't hear anything today, so I apologize for that. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting show today. But that being said, let's get a few of the housekeeping things out of the way before we start getting into today's episode. So first things first, if you have your own association, or even if you don't, you want to take back some of your computer sovereignty. You want to go over to Start9 Embassy servers. You want to use the code Rebel Alliance at checkout for 9% off. Now, the benefit of having one of their computer systems in your house is, one, you can have secure communication between you, your family members, your friends, your association, if you have one. 2, you can have your own web browsing set up. You can set up your own chat GPT, which all the data stays within your server. And then the best thing I like about it is you can set up your own BTC Pay, which is a Bitcoin Pay server, which acts like PayPal, but using Bitcoin. And it's a great way to get paid and cut out everybody in general and act as your own bank. Now, if you're not going to get one of those, then I would highly suggest you head over to East Coast PMA. Up top here, you have the Liberty Dollar button, so you can go over to Wayne and Kathy Hicks Financial Association over there at Liberty Dollar, and you can sign up for an account. It's a association that basically offers banking-like services, but it's all backed by silver. You can have it in coin. You can have it in a paper format. You can even send it digitally, and they're always rolling out new things and better things over there. And hopefully I'll have Wayne on shortly to kind of give us an update of what's been going on over there. Now, if you do have a Liberty Dollar account already, when you're over at East Coast PMA, scroll down on the right-hand side, go to the Transact card, click on that button, get one now and get it set up, because eventually that card is going to work directly with your Liberty Dollar Financial Association account. So if you are at the gas station and the grocery store and you need some money out of that account, you'll be able to access it on the fly, which is nice. And then the other two things here is no lawyer, no problem. If you're looking to get into the legalities of how things work, if you're looking to protect yourself against wrongdoers and people that trespass against you, then you want to make sure you know how the court system works. And using this course, How to Win in Court Without a Lawyer, is the very initial steps. It is the best, I think, $250 you will ever spend. It is very detailed and very easy to understand. And then if you get into the Telegram group, you're even going to get more information from Dr. Graves. And last but not least, if you have a homestead, a home, an apartment, if you're looking to lower your essential services, maybe get a security system or even identity theft protection, jump on over to my ACN page, get set up with that. I've used this a lot with my real estate clients, and it's just a great way to lower some of your bills and also protect you and your family. So that being said, what are we going to talk about today? Well, if you are watching the live stream of this, or even if you're listening to the audio afterwards, let me know where you're listening from. And when we're going through this, I will be checking comments from YouTube, and I believe Rumble shows up now, or it might be X. I'm not sure if we're streaming to X today. We might be streaming to the Facebook group instead, but feel free to leave any comments you might have about associations in general or anything that we're talking about today. Or if you just want to say, hey, what's up, man? I sent you an email this morning. You haven't answered it yet. Feel free. Hey, Frozen Dog, thanks for jumping on again today and watching with us. I appreciate you spending the afternoon here with me. And yes, I did get some emails from a few people this morning. I was checking them while I was getting my coffee, and I will answer your emails today. I had some people, new individuals coming to the YouTube channel and checking things out. So today we're talking about strengthening your resilience with the roles of associations and emergency preparedness. And the reason why I decided this topic today, not to be all doom and gloom, it's just that as we start building these associations, there's some benefits coming along with it. And you have to excuse how I'm dressed today. I was going to go stack wood first, but I figured let me get this episode done instead of waiting till later tonight. I've got some dinner plans with some friends, so I really wanted to get this out there. And the reason is because here in New England in the Northeast, we're going to get walloped with a storm. And so that made me start thinking like, okay, what's the benefit of being in an association when it comes time to being prepared for things? And one of the things that I can think of is just having that family that's not, that extended family to rely on for certain things. So if we just take a quick look over in the news here, let me share my screen with you for those who are watching the live. And we go over to a series of explosions in New York between Manhattan and Queens. Now, if you are still in the city at this point in the game, well, you're going to have to figure out some things for bugging in and how to survive anything that might happen there. Me personally, if I could get out of the city, if I was in there, like a lot of my clients did during the early phase of the pandemic, they came up from New York to Connecticut just to get out of this city environment because one, when things start to fail, they fail very quickly. And two, there's a lot of people congested in a very tight area. And if you are on the 15th or 20th floor of an apartment building and stuff goes sideways, it might be very difficult for you to get out by the time you realize what's going on. So if you can, great. If you can't, you're going to have to adjust some things to be able to survive natural disasters or anything else that might happen. But there was a lot of talk on social media about all these explosions throughout Manhattan and Queens. And this is just another thing to show you that, look, there is a 1.7 magnitude earthquake in New York. Doesn't really happen that often here on the East Coast. But again, it's important to be prepared. Now, if you have an association and you are set up with your own Start9 server, so you have your own means of communication, or maybe you have walkie-talkies with a repeater somewhere in between, if somebody has one within your group. If something does go south, having that one form of communication is going to be huge. And then having some rally points for you and your members, or even just your family in general. And I try to talk about preparedness in a way that it's not about, hey, the zombie apocalypse, even though most of us would probably really enjoy that to some extent, or, possible World War III or anything like that. It's more of the day-to-day stuff that could happen that could really throw a kink in what you're doing. And when I look at this, like within New York, let's just say I was in New York and this happened and I lost power and I couldn't get back into my hotel because the key didn't work or whatever, but, or the apartment because of an electronic key. Well, maybe somebody in my association could put me up for the night or something along those lines. Or if you had to get out of your area, let me just, I'll get to you in a second, Frozen Dog, and throw that up there. I do appreciate the comments. But when it comes to the disasters or anything that might happen, it's important if you have an association, one, to make sure you're communicating with all your members, and two, having some plans of evacuation, rendezvous points, rally points, we called them the military, that sort of thing. Because if one member of the association needs help, hopefully there's somebody close enough to get there. And that's the beauty of having an association. So for example, on our homestead, I've got this tree that's probably like this big around that is outside my skill set for dropping trees because it is leaning so far to one side. It's past 45 degrees. The bottom of it's kind of eaten out. And it's also about 7 inches away from the power lines that come up from the street up our property to the homestead. Call the Eversource to come out to have them look at it. They're like, listen, we're not going to touch it until it falls down. And if you try to cut it down and take down the power lines, well, then you're responsible for repairing everything and paying those costs. So now it's just a waiting game. And in New England, we are getting a cross-country snowstorms. Let me share this with you, which in New England, we're usually prepared for, nor'easters, as we call them. But this is going to be one of the largest snowstorms, or the first heavy snowstorm cities have seen in years up here. Now, it's going to come right up the I-95 corridor, which I-95 comes through Connecticut. And, I'm not too worried about it. We got the snowblower going. I do have to finish stacking about a half a cord of wood to get it off the driveway. That's going to have to happen tomorrow now, but this stuff isn't coming until Saturday, Sunday. But you can see it's going to come right up the coastline. So now one of my jobs is, or my responsibilities as one that runs an association, is to make sure all my members of the association are prepared for what's coming. And hey, do you need anything? Does somebody need some small engine repair to get their snowblower up and running? Granted, a lot of this stuff should have already been done, but like me, the weather's been so warm, so I've been procrastinating. But here's the benefit. If you are new to an area and you join an association, maybe you don't have any family, you moved out to Wyoming, Casper, Wyoming, because it's a great place to retire, and you're down by the mountains, or maybe you're in the plains and you don't have any family, but you join an association there. You are going to be able to extend your network of people that can help you when times get tough. So I think it's pretty important when it comes to uh, having an association and incorporating that with preparedness. I think, I'm a Gen Xer, so I remember growing up and there was hurricanes that came through and it was fill the bathtub up with water, run to the store, grab some milk and bread, and hopefully you can eat everything in the refrigerator before it goes bad if the power's out for a few weeks. I've gotten away from that mentality. I think a lot of people have, because we've seen things over the last few years where it's supply shortages, transportation shortages, can't get certain things at the grocery store, what have you. So people are starting to become more reliant on themselves, and having an association is able to double your efforts in that, because now you can start pooling your resources together to do that stuff. So here we got one comment here. I've spoken to many individuals and small businesses about association. That's awesome. I appreciate it. And here's another one from Frozen Dog. It takes effort or time. No one wants to get involved. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes people are just busy and they're just like, listen, man, I've got enough going on, until the SHIT hits the fan. And then it's like, oh, hey, how do I become a part of that? Like when we started Liberty House early on, we had an influx of people that we couldn't even take care of. There were so many people coming in because things were so divided all over the place. And now things have gotten a little bit more normalcy. We've seen some people drop off and so forth. But again, it's kind of like having that security blanket. So like today, when I get done with this episode or this broadcast, podcast, whatever you like to call it, I'll send out a group text to everybody and find out what's going on and if anybody needs any help with anything. And again, it's just a way of taking your association, saying, okay, we have, let's say 25, 30 family members. Okay, everybody's got their water supply set up. Everybody's got this set up. We might have we have two, we have one single dad and a single mom that each have two kids. They don't have a snowblower. Somebody with a truck and a trailer maybe can get over there and help snow blow them out. Because we are kind of spread out, but we do have people that are close enough by where somebody can help somebody else out, if that's the best way to put it. And the other reason why I talk about this is it's not just happening here, it's happening everywhere else. There was another, just on January 2nd of 2024, there was an earthquake in Japan that killed dozens of people. These are things that can happen at a drop of a dime, a snap of the fingers, and you need to be prepared for it. And what better way to do it than doing it with other people that are like-minded, that want to prepare, instead of like, maybe you're trying to tell your brother, hey man, you got to get ready for this stuff. Something they're like, you're a crackpot. Put your tinfoil hat on and go somewhere else. The government's going to take care of me. I've got everything I need. If the power goes out, it's going to come back on in a couple days. We've got some tuna fish and bread. We'll be able to, I just hit the boom here. We'll be able to take care of things. And the fact of the matter is, we saw that that's not the case. When the lockdowns happened, people couldn't get toilet paper. People couldn't get to the grocery store. People couldn't do this. I mean, we kind of just did whatever we wanted and just called it a day, and because that's just how we are. But other people didn't have that stuff. They were afraid to go out of their house. So having that 30 to 60-day supplies within your bug-in location, so to speak, is huge. And making sure your association members have that also is really important. And again, the whole point of the association is, being with like-minded people, or people that have the same goal in mind, but also to strengthen your weaknesses. So maybe you're not good at canning, but somebody in your association is. And somebody can say, hey, listen, you go out and buy the mason jars. You go out and get whatever it is that you want to can, whether it's chicken, beef, vegetables, potatoes, whatever. Maybe you want to make some chicken soup from a chicken carcass you had, an oven roasted chicken you had, or something along those lines. Bring everything over. I'm going to show you how to prepare everything, can it. we'll have, take us a couple hours to put everything and process everything. And then you walk out of here with some canned goods that you've done that you know how long they're good for, and you can put them in your pantry. That's how that's the power of the association, as opposed to maybe you're not good at, you've never done canning and you're a little nervous about botulism and everything else. And you fall to, you watched a few YouTube videos, maybe you have a book, but you're that type of person that needs that hands-on instruction. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm that type of person. I need to either physically see it being done, or I need somebody to show me how to do it. Certain things I can like read a book and be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And other things I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I need somebody to show me this. But having that association in place, and excuse me, that cough comes up out of nowhere sometimes. Having that association in place where you can rely or lean on others to strengthen your skill sets, and at the same time they're going to lean on you to strengthen their skill sets, I think is a huge advantage to having an association, especially in the climate that we currently live in. And we saw it just, we're only day 3 into this month, and there's already weird stuff happening, like earthquakes in New York and explosions going off. And, there was the power outage, at the end of December, right after that Obama movie came out, Leave the World Behind, about cyber attacks. If you pull up the cyber attack map, they're still happening on a regular basis all over the place. So it's important to make sure that you're prepared for when this stuff goes south, or even if it doesn't, it's just a peace of mind. It's like having that insurance policy, knowing that if I drop dead in this chair right now while filming this, my wife and kids are going to be taken care of because I have a term life insurance policy in place that will cover 95% of everything that we have and set them up to where, it will replace my income, so to speak. So, I think that's pretty important. To see if there's any comments here. I'm going to try to switch over to Facebook real quick just to see if there's anything going on in the Facebook group, or if there's any questions in there about preparedness or anything like that. And I wish there was a way to kind of stream this to the Telegram group. I don't think there is. Um, yeah, I got nothing over in Facebook. Everybody's probably still at work or doing other things, and they're used to the 1 o'clock time. And I really blew that today by oversleeping. But yeah, if you are, if you are watching this here on the East Coast, we got the storm coming through. They're probably hyping it up a little bit, but again, we haven't been walloped in a while, anyways. So I'm making sure a couple things are in place. One for me is the snowblower. Like, I haven't touched that thing; it's been in storage for almost 2 years now. So fingers crossed, the thing starts in the first pull. That's going to be my goal for tomorrow, to get that up and running, and the rest of the wood stack. So I just really wanted to jump on today and just kind of talk about why it's important to, or how it's important to strengthen your resilience with a PMA and using a PMA. Because again, like we've talked about, you've got all these people coming together for the same common goal, and those goals are going to spread across and cross pollinate with other people. But if one of your goals is to say, hey, listen, we've got a group of 15 people, and we need to make sure everybody is prepared. So let's start with something small. Or, hey, we've got this group of 15 people. We see in the news now 3 or 4 days ahead of time, we could, like here in New England, get hit with this big nor'easter that, they're saying some cities haven't seen the amount of snow in the last 2 years that's going to be getting dumped on us Saturday, Sunday. So we've got a little bit of leeway, not a ton of time, but what can we do for us as a group to get together to get stuff ready for the snowstorm that's coming? So maybe it's getting together, making sure everybody's snowblower works, or plow's working, or their ATV with a plow on it, whatever it is that you're using, is ready to go. And then making sure people have supplies should the power go out for the next 4 or 5 days, that sort of thing. Like, I'm guessing, I got to get the generator, make sure that's up and running. And luckily I've got all my gas on hand that I rotate through, because I have different gas cans set up, 1 through 12. And making sure that that generator is ready to go, because I'm about 80% sure that tree is coming down if we get any heavy wet snow this weekend, and it's going to come right across the driveway. So what else do I need to be prepared for? Making sure my chainsaw is running, those sort of things, so I can clear the driveway and get out, because I have to go to work Sunday into Monday night, or Sunday night into Monday morning. So, just having an association isn't just, it's not like unless you have it set up as a social club, that's a whole other story. But for me, when I think of associations, I think of, extended family and people I can rely on and help me strengthen the weaknesses that I have within my own preparedness. Or maybe I'm getting prepared for the very first time, but you have somebody in your group that has some experience in it. Or maybe somebody was in the military and say, yeah, this is how we used to prepare. I mean, if they had a back office supply job, they're probably not gonna be able to help you that much. But there are those skill sets within your association that you can utilize to build your preparedness. So that's really what I wanted to touch on today. Hopefully that makes sense. Tomorrow we'll be back on at the regular time. Today was just um shit show, I guess is the best way to put it. I'm trying not to swear on here because it's just not my style. It's one of those things I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing, because after being in the military and law enforcement for over 20 years, you kind of pick up a mouth of a sailor just naturally, unfortunately. But that being said, I think there's a lot of benefits of having an association and looking at it from the eye of the self-reliance or preparedness aspect when utilizing what everybody brings to the table when it comes to your association, and be able to be more prepared for local, natural, man-made, whatever type of disasters, not necessarily the zombie apocalypse, as like I said, most of us would probably be up for. But simple things like the people in New York, they had all these explosions happen, between, I think it was Queens and Manhattan, and all of a sudden it was like, holy crap, what's going on? Why are there explosions? What are we gonna, what's happening? Having that form of communication with your members of your association, and then having plans of evacuation or rally points where maybe if one person's house has a tree come through it, we're getting the snowstorm in New England on Saturday and Sunday. Let's say a tree comes through one of our members' house, they know which direction they can go in to meet up with another member that can take them in for a little while until the snowstorm passes and that sort of thing, and cleanup can start. So that's really what I wanted to touch on today for the role of PMAs and emergency preparedness. There's a lot that goes into it, but making sure you're meeting with your members, you're setting up goals within your association for preparedness. And if you know something's coming, like we know here in New England, there's a snowstorm coming. They're saying it's the most snow seen in the last couple of years in some of these cities up the I-95 corridor. Well, then you need to get prepared before the snow gets here. So take Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning to get all your ducks in a row so you can sit inside, watch the snowfall, and if the power goes out, if something happens, you're prepared or you're able to help your members. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to check real quick. Got a few people watching here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll throw them up on screen. I'm going to head over to Facebook real quick and take another look in the Facebook group and see what we got there. And I think I'm going to start posting these links to these podcasts and episodes in the Telegram chat if you're on there, so people can catch up on them. But I don't see anything else other than from Frozen Dog. As always, thank you for stopping in and watching from Missouri. I appreciate it. And the rest of you that popped in and out on today's episode. It was kind of rushed. I do apologize, but that's just because I was dog tired today. And for some reason, I slept past noon, which never happens after working third shift. But I've got to go take care of some things outside and get prepared for the snow that's coming. Hopefully, if you're in New England, you're doing the same. And as always, if you have any questions about associations, head over to East Coast PMA. If you want to get more content, if you want to see some of the blog posts, past episodes, you can even listen to the podcast on there. And then all my contact information, as always, is in the description. So most people watch the replay of this, or they watch the audio, or they listen to the audio version. So if you are doing that, feel free to, wherever you're listening and consuming this from, the contact information is there. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, give me a phone call. If I don't answer, just shoot me a text. Say, hey, I'm calling you about, associations or PMAs, because I get a ton of garbage phone calls out, on a daily basis. So I'd be more than happy to talk to you and help you in any way, shape, or form. Also, that I don't want to forget, if you need DIY templates or anything like that, feel free to go over to the PMAmanifesto.com. I believe tomorrow is our free call. As soon as I get that information, I'll throw it out to the Facebook group and the Telegram group. So take a look for that. Jump on the call with myself, Erica, Angela, and have any questions answered. And then again, you can also go over to East Coast PMA for any other DIY templates or the PMA Manifesto. So that being said, thank you for watching. I apologize again for being late, really late. Hopefully this makes sense when it comes to having an association and being able to use that to strengthen your self-reliance, your preparedness between you and your members. And I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Uprisings all over the country, maybe there will be.